Did we had those engagements on the sideline of the midterm review of the Ministerial Council of the African Union, which has discussed a number of issues, including the budget of the African Union, the approval of the budget, the scale of assessment, and we're very excited that two countries of the African Union, in particular Kenya and Ethiopia, have now voluntarily stepped up to be tier one countries. This will add a lot of and relieve the AU in terms of its budget. It will add a lot of resources and relieve it from the programs that it needs to undertake. So we have congratulated Kenya and Ethiopia for this bold, courageous and decisive step that they have taken. And while we were awaiting the outcomes of the harmonized process in terms of the new scale of assessment, which has also now been adopted, which is also a progress going forward, because it is important that the African Union's budget is funded by member states of the African Union. South Africa is already a leader in this regard as being one of the tier one countries, together with our other sister countries. So being joined by Kenya and Ethiopia, it reflects the key principles of the union of burden sharing in terms of running the union and ensuring that the union, it's run by the member states, it's funded by us as member states, and this is a step towards the right direction. And also, there's been also a number of other resolutions in relation to the Africa CDC, the audit processes of the union, including the staffing and all that. And we also congratulated Uganda in terms of the progress made with regards to the fight against Ebola, and also stated that South Africa, as a member state, one of the countries that wants to see the union funds its activities supported and donates an amount of 13 million US dollars into the Africa CDC to help with the fight against Ebola, because we believe this fight needs to be dealt with at the regional level, at the continental level. It should not just be left to be a fight of the DRC alone. Should be a shared responsibility. And it's also in this regard that our own National Institute of Communicable Diseases is also working very closely with the Africa CDC to support their work. That is very, very important for us to prevent the Ebola outbreak to spread across the continent. We also engage with the chair on the issue of the African digitalized platform that South Africa is a champion of, and we are working with the African Union to support and help with the process of digitizing the archives of the African Union. And we look forward to that work, which we think will be very exciting. And similar with Ivory Coast, Senegal, Burundi, we had similar engagements. But firstly, we dealt with the issues of the joint relations between the two countries at the bilateral level. Our intention to strengthen economic collaboration with them on various sectors of our economies, already stating that a number of our companies from South Africa are already invested in the markets in Senegal, in Cote d'Ivoire, in Burundi. They are already playing a role, and we want to expand that. We also briefed them about the current situation in migration in South Africa, that now the situation has stabilized. There has been isolated incidents, and that there is now a process that the IMC is undertaking to ensure that irregular migration is addressed. Like any other country, they all agree that South Africa, like any other country, has a sovereign right to enforce its own immigration laws. The issue they all raise, as I always say, is the violence, sometimes the isolated incidents that do happen. And we also briefed them that our law enforcement agency is on top of the situation. They've already arrested about 82 people countrywide in relation to them taking the law into their own hands, including offenses of looting, of vandalism of property, and so forth, which shows the firm hand that the South African government has put in this matter.